we are going to have a very special webinar with Geneva School of Diplomacy and International Relations. So today I would like to welcome Dr. Rakesh. He is the General Manager, Ms. Maya, the Admissions Officer, and Ms. Uxia, the Admissions Counselor. So today they are going to show you about studying in Switzerland and specifically how to have a great course in international relations and diplomacy.
The Geneva School of Diplomacy is a private boutique institution created 20 years ago by a CISO diplomat, Dr. Colin Murphy. And this institution is categorized by three things. First of all, is excellence. We ensure the academic excellence through our faculty, which are specialized in this field, but they are also active workers in international organizations, public sector, and even private sector. Then we have a global perspective. We offer a diverse and international environment, which is obviously the most obvious thing if you want to study international relations and diplomacy. More than the 19% of our faculty is students, and even staff is international. And lastly, and that is the most important part, is that we don't only want to ensure academic excellence in IR and diplomacy, because we also want to focus on the application of diplomatic skills. So what we want to do is to pair the practical knowledge with the theoretical knowledge in international relations and diplomacy. As you can see, our academic programs, they go from Bachelor in International Relations up to Doctorate by Research and Doctorate by Dossier in International Relations and Diplomacy. And we also have a master and a double master with Anglia Ruskin University and UK University, and which is our master plus an MBA and our master plus an LLM. Apart from that, we offer executive education with our executive masters, and also we have executive certificates and diplomas of 1 week, 2 weeks, and 3 weeks, and diplomatic skills training that can be tailored in case that a group of professionals, they need a specific training in diplomatic skills, or if not, we have right now our summer school program for junior students between 15 to 18 years old, and immersion programs. There are programs of 1 semester for undergraduate and graduate level. So I'm going to explain you now a little bit of why it's so important where we are located. And the most important part is that we are located in what is called the diplomatic neighborhood. And we are 5 minutes, as you can see in the map, in the presentation, we are located around 5 minutes from the Red Cross, 7 minutes from the United Nations. And Geneva is the place to be if you want to study in this field. The reason why is all the international organizations, all the NGOs, diplomatic missions, and conference and relevant events of this field, they take place in Switzerland. So thanks to that, all of our students, first of all, they are able to beneficiate from global networking. They are able to connect with diplomats, professionals, and experts all around the world from all these embassies, all these missions, the organizations, and they are able to attend to this conference and seminars. Our communication team makes sure to provide with all the information for the students to be able to access to that. Thanks to that, and in relation with that, they are able to gather practical experience. I will discuss a little bit later in our teaching methodology about our internship program, but not only our internship program, as I said before, because they are in Geneva and we try to provide the access to all the events and this conference, they are able to network and they are able to get real practical experience, real world experience with diplomacy and international relations. And lastly, our institution offers the United Nations access. We offer to all of our students the United Nations badge, which is a badge that all of the students get access to the library, to the archives of the United Nations, and any public event that takes place there or any public area of there. As I said, and you can see it on the presentation, Geneva is really, really small, and all the organizations, all the embassies, all the missions are all together in the same place, and we are located almost in the center of it. So it's 5 minutes to go to one to the other. And passing to the teaching methodology, our institution is categorized because to have a really, really practical approach, and rather I will say like a professional approach, meaning that we don't want to have more than 20 students per class. The maximum is 20. And the reason why is because, as I said before, all of our professors are active professionals, so they have this professional mindset that they want the students to be really, really proactive. That is the reason why they have roundtable discussions and debates. They create workshops, case scenarios, role games. They have a lot of research projects and a lot of presentations. And on top of that, our institutions, every other Wednesday, we have a conference and seminars. We call it Emerging Issues and Persistent Challenges Seminars, in which we bring high-level professionals of these fields, the international relations fields, to discuss with the students. This way they are able to network again, but also to be on top of what is the most current information of what is happening right now in the world. And the last thing, which is important to know, is that for bachelor and masters, it's mandatory to do internships. The internship is inside of the curriculum of the programs, which means that they need to present at least one internship report. It is true that because we are really well located and we provide a really, really practical approach, our master students are able to do between 1 to 2 internships because because the course is 1.5 years. But for bachelors, they are able to do between 3 to 4 internships. I think that the maximum that a bachelor student was able to do was 6 internships in 3 years, which is really, really impressive. And to the next step, that will be the alumni statistics, to give you an idea, an overview, is that normally our students are able to find a job position between 4 to 6 months. The reason why is because they finalize their studies not only with a proper diploma, high-level diploma, but they're also finalized with professional experience in Switzerland. And also, it's really common for the international organizations and really well known that if you already do an internship with them, it's highly possible that they will look for you again in the future for another position. And the professional fields that we tackle in our institution, and we see our students going to the internships and finding their job positions, is either in international organizations, United Nations, WTO, WHO. Then you have some students that want to follow the humanitarian path. Those ones, they go to the NGOs. Then you have the students that they decide to go to the public sector, that they want to be diplomats, ambassadors, and work for the missions and embassies. And lastly, which is really interesting because we are seeing more and more, students that decide to go to the private sector. As you can see here in the presentation, you have students that go to the technology, to private banking, to media and journalism, consulting companies, and large corporations per se. Like, for example, in Geneva, one example will be, I don't know, Nestle, for example. And we're seeing the students going to these 4 fields. Here, I just wanted to show you like a small example of one of our current students. And just to prove you that, as you can see, you have some students that are going to the public sector, like, for example, Asala, Secretary of the Permanent Mission of Sudan to the United Nations. But then you have students going to the private sector, like Microsoft, like Daria. And then you can see a mix of international organizations as well, and even government, in the case of Christopher. And because we're an international institution, of course, all of our alumni are in all the places of the world. We try to constantly be in contact with them. In fact, we have a mentorship program to try, again, to pair mentors, alumni, with current students. This way, we can provide to the students, even more help for them to succeed in their professional paths. And with that, I think that I gave you like a small overview of the institution. And I will pass right now to our admissions officer, Ms. Maya Schlegel, that she will continue with admission, the application process. So please, Maya.
All right, thank you, Uxia. All right, our application process is pretty straightforward. I'll start out by saying that our applications are to be submitted online via our website. If you go to the GSD website, you'll see a section called Programs. You scroll down, you select the academic program that you would like to apply for, click on that, and it'll bring you to a landing page that has information on the program, and there is a purple button that says Apply Now. So just click on that to launch the application, and you will be able to pay the application fee either via credit card or bank transfer. So that's a pretty straightforward process. Now, what do we require? First of all, I should say that the application process is a very holistic one. We don't only look at grades. We don't only look at what professional accomplishments the people have on their CVs. We really like to take each individual applicant and assess them from every aspect of their accomplishments. So as far as documentation is concerned, and you'll be able to upload all of these documents directly onto the online application portal. First of all, we ask for a CV. Second, a color passport copy of the photo page. Third is a cover letter, and this can be around, we like to say between 300 and 500 words, so a page to a page and a half. And we just want to hear why the applicant would like to come to GSD and what are their attributes that they feel would make them a good fit for the world of diplomacy and international relations. We ask for 2 letters of recommendation, and I should point out these can be either academic or professional or a mix. It doesn't only have to be from a professor. Even if you had a part-time job working at a bar, and you were the best bartender and you had really good communication with clients, don't think that it has to be purely academic. Again, we consider the person, each candidate as a whole. Copy of the grade transcripts. Many people ask, whether we need to see a diploma before we can reach an admission decision. But the answer to that is no. We can admit students conditionally, especially for bachelor's students that we know they're finishing up high school, they're finishing up their IB, they may not have their final grades yet. So we do make our admissions decisions based on their provisional grades. And then, of course, we will ask for a copy of the final diploma and the final transcripts before they begin. A very, very important non-negotiable criteria is English language proficiency. And this, over the years and years of experience that we have, our curriculum requires a lot of reading, it requires a lot of writing, it requires a lot of debate. So we like to see an IELTS score of 6.5, and that equates to high B2 to C1 level of English proficiency. If the student has either English as a mother tongue, or has done their prior studies, that's their bachelor's for a master's applicant, or their high school IB for a bachelor's applicant, they can request a waiver of providing proof of English proficiency. So that's usually not too much of an issue. And then the application fee payment, as I said before, that is done via the website at the end of the application process once you've uploaded all of the required documents and provided the information. So just a brief note for those who are applying to our executive programs, we do like to see a minimum of 3 years of professional experience. So that means, would be it internships, be it volunteering. Another thing to point out is that we do not require a bachelor's degree, in that we've had some people who have graduated from high school or high school equivalent and have spent the last 10 years working for NGOs across the world, and they have gained such a huge and precious amount of professional experience. So we do take that into consideration. So again, we really stress that we assess each application as a whole. We don't fixate on numbers. And for our doctorate program, we do ask for a research proposal of 4,000 to 5,000 words to be submitted, and I can provide the template for that. And we do like to see a minimum of 3 to 4 years of professional experience. So I think that covers the application process. All right, so we get asked a lot about the timeline. For non-EU applicants, the biggest stickler is the visa application process, which actually is not, I promise, it's not a complicated process. The biggest hassle is just providing the documents. But the good thing is that if you give yourself enough time, and we say to each applicant, give yourself a good 4 months. That way there's no stress. You get your application submitted. If there are any documents missing, you have time to provide those. No stress. You can do it in 3 months, but that's cutting it a bit short. So I tell people if they want to join us in the autumn, to try to have their application submitted by the 1st of May at the very latest. And then if they want to join us in the spring for our February intake, by October 1st, it's good to have already submitted all of the application documents so that we can keep the ball rolling. Now, in order to apply for the Swiss visa, and again, I am here to help every single student with the visa application process. So I know it can be a daunting experience, but really it's not that bad, and we're here to help. So no one should be discouraged by that. The one thing that each applicant will need from us is that once they are admitted, assuming they're admitted, as soon as they have paid their tuition deposit, that means that they are now fully enrolled at GSD. And the Swiss visa authorities require proof of enrollment in order to launch the application process. So they require 2 documents from us: proof of enrollment and a proof of payment of the tuition deposit. And again, that's not something that we require. It's the Swiss authorities want to see proof of financial commitment before a student is able to apply for the Swiss visa. I do want to quickly go over the financial aid programs. So we have 2 types of financial aid, and they're both contingent upon academic achievement. Successful candidates usually have a 3.4 or above. That's not to say it's not, if you have a 3.35, we're not going to say, no, you don't qualify. Again, we take each candidate individually, but our successful candidates usually have a 3.4 or above. So we have 2 different options for financial aid. The first is an academic excellence scholarship, and that offers between 10 and 25% of a discount from our tuition fees. For that, because it is an academic excellence scholarship, we do like to see a 3.5 GPA out of 4 as well. So and for that, they usually have to submit a letter of motivation, a cover letter explaining again what accomplishments they have that entitle them to this academic excellence scholarship. Now, our fellowships provide a little bit more financial assistance, and they are need-based. They offer between 30 to 50% discount based on financial need, and so that can be quite interesting for many students. Again, we like to see a 3.4 out of 4, but again, that is not necessarily a hard and fast. And for that, we do like to see proof of financial need, and again, a cover letter explaining their financial situation and why they are a good candidate for the fellowship. One thing I should say is, for applicants who would like to apply for financial aid, please get the application submitted along with your application, because once we have reached an admissions decision, we cannot go back and then add a financial aid package. So we like to have all the documentation in front of us when we discuss the application with our admissions committee. Okay. Uxia, did you want to discuss student support, or?
We can do it.
Let's do it together. Yes. I'll go ahead and start. For accommodation, we do have a wonderful student support team who's here to help our students. We know our students come from all over the world, and especially our bachelor students. A lot of them, it's the first time they've left home. You're in a new country, in a new culture. I know this can seem very daunting, but we do have an amazing student support system in place to make sure that the students are well taken care of, that they're able to find accommodation. So all their needs are taken care of. Now, we do not have on-campus housing. That is a question that we get a lot. However, again, Geneva is a large university city, so there are numerous student residences available for all different price brackets, with a cheaper one starting at around 500 francs a month and going up to about 1,000. Of course, it's a Geneva, the sky's the limit, but there are many reasonably priced housing options available. But again, just like with anything else, the early bird gets the worm. So those students who apply early and get an admissions decision early can start looking for housing. And usually the earlier you start looking, the better housing you find and the easier time you have doing this. It's always the students who start looking for housing in August, and they would like to join us for September. That can be a stressful process. Everyone finds something. This is not the Netherlands. Everyone, I do tell people, rest assured, nobody is sleeping in their cars or sleeping in a tent outside the campus. But definitely the sooner you apply, the better. So yes, thanks to our connections with the UN and the NGOs in Geneva, we do offer just unparalleled access to professional development workshops, diplomatic workshops, diplomatic etiquette training. Yes. Student support also definitely provides very personalized one-on-one support for special needs, any special needs that the students might come with, such as psychological counseling services. And Uxia, I think that this is your specialty.
Yes, exactly. With the yes, as you well said, the workshops and the diplomatic etiquette training, some of them they are inside of the curriculum of some of our programs, but some of them, the communication team, they were constantly looking to every opportunity to provide it to the students in case that they want to do it via, as really well said by Maya, organizations, NGOs, and so on. Then for the student engaging initiatives, we have student ambassadors. We have a student ambassadors body, and they try to engage with debate clubs, with the model UN, even with contests. Sometimes, for example, last semester, they were able to participate in cybersecurity contest, and every opportunity that they have, where our institution try to encourage them and try to support them the best as we can. And lastly, the humanitarian engagement. For us, is really important, the humanitarian side, humanitarian part. So we tried to help the students like at least once per academic year for them to go to a mission. Last year, for example, they went to a mission in the Polish border with the Polish Humanitarian Action to help to pass refugees from Ukraine. But also they try to do humanitarian projects in Zanzibar with the schools, and also not only outside but inside Switzerland, like try to gather food for NGOs, for example, or try to help or volunteership with NGOs. We're really, really keen on that, and we have a really, really good student groups that they're also the ones that try to push us and ask for support every time that they need or they want to participate in these initiatives. And I think with that, we give you an overview about the admissions, the application overview of the institution. So now the floor will be for our director, that is Dr. Rakesh Krishnan, with summing up all this information.
Thank you very much, Uxia and Maya, for the presentation. Let me first thank everyone for being here, for wanting to listen to us. And thank you, Net24, for organizing this webinar as well. So with that, let me start by saying, I'm just going to give a very brief summary of what they just described, and also a little bit more information on how we develop partnerships with our agents, with our representatives, with our consultants, etc. As Uxia said, we are a very unique institution. We specialize in international relations and diplomacy in the most diplomatic capital of the world. As study abroad representatives, you must already be aware that whenever students go abroad to study something, the best thing to do would be to study in a place where they have job opportunities, where their skills, where their knowledge, where the degree that they earn is going to be respected and is in need. There is no point, as you already know, of studying a degree in a very great city where there are no job opportunities for that particular degree. What we are doing, or what we have been blessed with, let's say, is specializing in the most niche, important field that Switzerland and Geneva is famous for, which is international relations and diplomacy. Of course, we have the watch, we have the chocolates, we have the mountains, and the travel industry, of course, but we are essentially the most diplomatic neighborhood on the planet. That's what Geneva is known for. And we specialize in diplomacy and international relations. We are a little bit different. I know that you must be bored of now hearing from universities talking about practical experience and practical knowledge. What we do is a little bit different. We don't give practical knowledge and practical training and practical information as a service to students. What we do is basically keep that as the essential DNA of GSD. So whenever we have an idea, what we do is first put the practical knowledge as the first step and then design everything around that. And that's why you must have heard from Uxia and Maya that students get to do 5 to 6 internships, very quality internships with the UN, with embassies, with missions, with the NGOs by the time they complete their degree. Our aim is by the time a student completes their bachelor's degree with GSD, that they either continue with or in their master's degree with GSD, or they go on to some of the best institutions in the world. And as student study abroad consultants, since you know how difficult it is for a university like Harvard, Stanford, Yale, Princeton to take students, Oxford, Cambridge to take students, we know that difficulty and we prepare those students for that, a profile like that. So when a student from GSD passes out, they have some of the best grades, of course. Two, they have recommendations from people who we usually learn about, see in television channels, or read about in books, because these are practitioners, these are people well accomplished. They also have recommendation letters from others, well-known names, ambassadors, because they're developing their connections and contacts in GSD. And after that, of course, the most important, which is like Uxia mentioned, they get internships in some of the best institutions, and they also get the recommendations from these institutions. So when someone, an admissions department in an Ivy League school, looks at their CV, they see a very quality applicant for their own university, and thereby we have a very strong success rate in getting our students in some of the best institutions in the world. Whichever institutions you name, I can guarantee you that we have students studying there. Best institutions and not the ones that we don't know. So, and that's why you will also see that we have a study abroad programs with some of the best institutions in the world. Georgetown, MGIMO in Russia, NUS in Singapore, Fletcher University, some of the best in the field we work with. And we would like to continue doing that, and we will continue doing that as well. In terms, you've heard about experience, we have heard about career. I see some questions on career as well. Yes, we do give them career counseling. What we don't do, as you might expect, is to get them the job, to get them the internship initially. Because that's spoon feeding. We don't believe in spoon feeding here. Also, finding a job is an art and a skill that they need to know. So what we do initially is to give them the skills, to give them the knowledge, to give them the connections, to give them the contact, to give them the nursing, as we say, they need to launch themselves. And when they try, and we see that they tried, and there is no luck, because luck is a major factor in these things as well. Timing, as we say, if you don't believe in luck. And the timing is not right, and they're not able to, they might be struggling. Then we step in and make the necessary phone calls to get them the internship or the jobs. So that by the time they pass out from GSD, we are certain that they will be able to survive by themselves, which is the most important thing in a career market in life. So we try to do that for them. We have regular career workshops. We have career counseling that we do as well. We do have events like emerging issues where we make them interact with real life practitioners so that they have the chance to network and interact and make an impression and get internships, get jobs. Many of our students try to do that, and they do. And one other thing I'll say, and I'll stop on this topic, is basically whenever we talk about international relations and diplomacy, we only think about the United Nations. And that's a big mistake because things have evolved and changed. As Uxia just mentioned, there is around 22% of our students going into private sector. And this trend is increasing more and more. Actually, I just finished a meeting yesterday with an alumni who's at the moment the director of PwC, which is a consultancy firm helping governments, helping NATO, helping many other regional organizations with defense strategies. We have students working in Nestle, we have students working in watch companies, banks, etc., because they all have a keen interest in international relations at the moment. Why is that? Because we have seen many, many times that when you go to the management level, they just don't require you to have a business degree. They also require you to have other skill sets. And that's what gets you the promotion into the management level, as you might already know. And international relations and diplomacy is a very, very, very good addition to just having a business knowledge. Because then at the top level, if you are at the top level of Nestle, big banks, you're not going to be dealing with regular HR issues or regular sales issues. You are going to be dealing with macro issues, which is entering new markets, how to deal with governments, what to do, what are the contacts to approach, what is the cultural perspective, political landscape. So you need people having this information, being able to analyze policy, being able to analyze governments, where it's going, where the policy going, because you don't want to be like certain car companies which enter the market thinking that the government is going to be favorable and they get stuck. One good example is Tesla. Another good example is Apple. They're just moving their facility from China. So there are several things that play. So we have students going into private sector. Now, in terms, let me just finish by saying regarding how we develop partnerships. When we work with agents, representatives, consultants, I would like to say that we prefer long-term relationships. We prefer win-win relationships. And thereby we like to see that when we grow, our connections, our partners, they grow with us and they like to do business with us and they like to stay with us. That's why many of our representatives and agents have been working with us for more than a decade easily. And we want to continue doing that with whoever wants from this webinar wants to join us and work with us. We make sure it's we 100% make sure that you win as well in this relationship, that you would like to continue as well. I wouldn't want to throw some numbers at you here, but I can guarantee you that we make sure that our agents and consultants are happy, our representatives are happy with the compensation, remuneration that they make out of the efforts that they make for us. We will be happy to discuss with you one-on-one on more as to how we can help you, how we can work with you, etc. Now, in terms of what do we do with our agencies, there are several things that we do with our representatives. One is that the regular relationship, which is you have a student, you nominate a student, and we give you we pay you a reward or a compensation or a remuneration, whatever we call that. The second one is also a situation where our agencies, our partner agents, they invite us to a particular country and they have X number of schools or colleges or think tanks, businesses, etc., that they would like us to visit, and we visit them. And if there is conversions, students coming from these network or connections, then those students or those services are attributed directly to your efforts, and thereby you become compensated or remunerated for that. So we work on that basis as well. Apart from regular courses, bachelor's, master's, executive, doctor program, we also work on tailor-made programs. So we also have representatives who tell us, I have a good contact in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, or I have this company or this school. They like to do study trips to Geneva. We would like to work on study trips. And we work with you on the study trip and ensure that you get rewarded for the effort and the connections that you make. We also do tailor-made program, meaning apart from study trips, we also have sometimes a country or a ministry has a specific need in training. We also provide those trainings to executives, to school students, to college students, and that also gives a bulk. So we have agents who specialize in different things. Some specialize in bachelor's. We work with them at the bachelor level. Some specialize in master's. We work with them at the master's level, and some specialize in the study trips or tailor-made programs or summer schools, and we work with them as well. So whatever you are comfortable, we are ready to work on that and to ensure that we 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 uh, we work together and we produce results, and it's a win-win for both parties. Actually, win-win for all the three parties, because one, you win, two, we win, and the third, most importantly, the student wins because they get good quality education, they get good connections, and they get a very, very speedy access into the job market of wherever they want to go. And we ensure that all of this happens. And our result speaks for itself. You can check our alumni page. Uxia just showed you the map that just has around 100 sample students. Those are not all our alumni. We have around 1,000 alumni, so we can't put all of them in the map because then the map will look red completely. So we have a few examples there. You can go to our alumni page. It's a dynamic map. So when you click on touch on the dots on the map, you will see exactly what they're doing. These are each alumni. So it's real life. It tells you where they are, what they're doing.
This collaboration would mean a lot to us as Net24, and a lot to our agencies as well when they want to send their students to one of the best diplomacy schools in, let's say, the Switzerland or in the world. So we would like to thank you a lot from Net24 side, and thank you a lot from my side as well. After today, I will send the contact of yours, all of your emails information to our team, Wojtek and Nijat, who are directly connected with our agencies today. And if they are interested, we will also email them directly with your contact as well.